Yeah,
maybe
yes,
fuel
exactly.
slips through.
Some
Quantity,
good stuff
not
slips
quality.
through every now. Blind squirrel finds a nut, right?
Nice.
Are we live on the web stream?
We are live. Yes.
Okay, we are live. You are watching us behind the scenes on the Run With It podcast. Starting every podcast as per tradition by making fun of Ethan as best we can and his corny jokes. Yeah. So we're just on a mission. One of the core metrics for the Run With It podcast success is how far can we lower Ethan's self-esteem? And I think we're on a strong start for 2021.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Chris, that was a good joke. That was a good joke. I have to say, I was not expecting that punchline.
Yeah, your eyes were like, oh my god, what's this? What's our metric we haven't talked about? We've got Josh Howarth on the episode today. This is behind the scenes, as we said. So you are seeing the unedited version of the podcast. If you would like to listen to the edited, polished, concise version with all of Ethan's jokes scrubbed, you can subscribe to us on your podcast player of choice. Search for Run With It. We'd also love to get a review from you. Star ratings really help us in spreading the word for the podcast. So with that, we can get into the recording. You guys ready?
Yeah.
Let's do it.
Let's do it. Welcome to Run With It, the show that brings you untapped business ideas from successful entrepreneurs. My name is Chris Justin, and I'm here with Ethan Jenny. Ethan, how are you doing today?
I'm doing good today, man. I'm all in on Bitcoin. I'm going down with the ship.
Is Bitcoin at like 50,000, 40,000 today?
It went up to like 58 last week, and then it went down to like 45 last night. So
okay. So you bought in at the top, huh?
It's doing what it does.
Yeah. Did you get in right at the top?
The top and the bottom at various points. I'm in all over the place, and as I said, I'm going down with the ship. But anyways, today we're talking to Josh Howarth. Yeah, he is the founder of Exploding Topics, an analytics service that surfaces rapidly growing topics before they take off. Basically, Google Trends on steroids. He's got an idea to create a tool for content marketers that transforms their YouTube, Twitter posts into email newsletters. So, Josh, tell us, what's the story behind this one?
So the idea, the story behind it is, well, it was kind of a natural evolution just from my usage of another product, which is kind of the idea but flipped. So I've been using this product called Mailbrew, which is an awesome product, but it's aimed at consumers. And what it does is basically it creates email digests out of like Twitter and Product Hunt, Reddit, any kind of social feed. You can create customized email digests based on that. So like, whereas before I'd be like trawling like Reddit for hours trying to find some gold on the entrepreneur subreddit, or like scrolling Twitter and constantly refreshing, looking for like nugget of a tweet, but most of it's just rubbish, right? And so you just end up spending like hours on it. It's so addictive, just waste of time. But Mailbrew, like you can set up these brews where for example, I've set up a brew with all the people I follow on Twitter that I actually want to hear, like absolutely from, like Paul Graham, people like that. So it aggregates their top tweets for whatever period you choose. So like weekly, I have set up. So then like every Monday, I'll get an email through Mailbrew with all the top tweets from a set of like 5 people. So instead of like spending all week on Twitter, just like throwing away time, wasting hours, I just get like all the gold nuggets in one email. So it's like 5 minutes versus hours. And like the same for Product Hunt and Hacker News. Hacker News used to be the worst for me. Like that was where I sank all my time on the homepage. But now I just get like the top post for the month.
I'm not familiar with using Mailbrew. Do they charge you a fee, or is it a free service and you upgrade it for something else?
It's like $8 a month. So it's really cheap because it's like aimed at like the consumer. So the value to me is just like saving me time. And it's well worth it for me. So $8 a month is like a no-brainer.
So this idea that you're thinking of, you would curate it out of other people's content, or it'd be for individuals who have content, they've put some Twitter things, some YouTube things, whatever, and then that goes into email newsletters that they send out to their followers, or a mix of things?
It's kind of like, the idea I have is to kind of turn it on its head, because I saw somebody on Twitter I follow tweeting out, "Hey guys," to his followers. It's this guy called Daniel Vassallo. He's like taking off on Twitter right now. You might have seen him. But he was trying to he tweeted out to get his followers on Mailbrew, and I kind of saw that and I was like, this is crazy. This guy's tweeting at his followers to sign up to this like paid app just so that they can follow him, subscribe to his tweets so that they don't miss his tweets, so that he can promote more effectively through Twitter. Whereas like just his followers, like unless they have like notifications set up, his followers won't see most of his tweets. And so like he doesn't really own his audience on Twitter. Like it's a good place to go like viral and build his audience, but he doesn't get great promotion through that channel. So he was trying to take it off Twitter, take his audience, some of it off Twitter onto Mailbrew, so that they would get every single tweet he does. And yet it just seemed crazy to me, because like he's pushing people down somebody's paid product funnel. And so like that won't convert that well. Like if it's $8 a month, most of them won't sign up. But like it just struck me that somebody should be offering Mailbrew, but for the content creator, for the like B2B instead of B2C. So for these content creators, for these businesses, a tool that it aggregates their tweets into like email digests, so that for example, if I'm following like a brand on Twitter, I don't want to trawl Twitter to find their good stuff. And a lot of their good stuff is only on Twitter, especially individuals, maybe like content creators. And so if I could sign up for free to something like Mailbrew specifically for one person, then like I think a lot of people would do that. And so then that would be valuable for him to build his audience. So it's like he would then instead of sharing a paid product, he would share a link to this new idea, this new tool that it provides digests of his top tweets.
He's gonna pay for
it. He'd pay for it. So like he's making money off his tweets, like selling content, selling courses. So he like, as his list grows on this tool that is the idea, like it becomes more and more valuable. So basically this tool, hopefully it'd do a lot of it automatically. So he'd just keep tweeting like normal, like usual. And then this tool would automatically email people his top tweets or individual tweets or all of the tweets for the week, whichever way works best.
Isn't it strange that our culture has turned to, we talk about tweeting around? I mean, it's just a strange thing. I'm thinking about it. Like if you asked me like 20 years ago that the president would be tweeting to people, or like that would be a big deal, it would be very, very controversial. Man, it's so crazy how much the world has changed. Anyways, Chris, what are you talking about?
I was going to try and take a different angle on this, or restate it, I should say. Basically, it's adding a layer that allows you to manage all of your platforms and own more closely own the relationship that you have with your subscribers via Twitter, YouTube, Instagram. Because right now, if someone wants to see your YouTube videos, they have to compete. You have to compete with all the other YouTube videos out there and all the noise. And as you described with Mailbrew, it would take you much longer to find the gold as opposed to getting that condensed. So it's an interesting idea. I'm
thinking about how do we actually make it happen. It sounds like a little bit complicated. Or is it just around the two, like Twitter, YouTube? Is it around everything? Does it employ AI?
Well, I think you could start probably just with one channel, right? If you wanted to start just with Twitter, that would be incredibly valuable in itself. And you can expand beyond that. I don't know what exactly would be involved in terms of the API integration. Josh, do you know whether that setup is possible?
Yeah, like the Twitter API is pretty accessible and the documentation is pretty good. I think like Twitter being Twitter, they're pretty liberal with like resources and accessibility. And yeah, I think I'd focus on either Twitter or YouTube. And like, I think the way I tried to like explain how I came up with the idea kind of overcomplicated it. And so, yeah, I would like start with something simple. So basically just like allow content creators to sign up, provide, link up with their Twitter. And then as soon as they do that, all of their tweets and their content goes into email digests. And then you also provide them a link for people to subscribe. So maybe they put that in their Twitter bio, or maybe they tweet that link, and then people can go to that page on the tool and then subscribe to the digest list. And then from then on, they'll be getting the automated like tweet digests from you. So then instead of them relying on the feed, and they might miss you, and there's so many other people in the feed and stuff like that, then you know they're going to get your tweets. So like, let's start off really basic like that.
Yeah, let's talk about some of the alternatives that exist right now. And I don't see a specific alternative that directly does what you're describing, but the alternatives that come to mind are just setting notifications on Twitter for a specific user. Let's say you wanted to make sure that you saw everything from Paul Graham. You could get a notification every time he tweets. That solves the problem of making sure you don't miss anything. It does not solve the problem of eliminating all the other noise out there, the crap that sucks you in and wastes your time. So that's one thing. On YouTube, another thing that came to mind is just the subscribe button. If you subscribe to someone's YouTube channel, don't you automatically get a notification anytime they publish a video?
I think it's if you click the bell button as well. So you have to subscribe and click like the notification bell button to get the alert. Whereas if you just subscribe, then I think it's like Twitter. Then they're going to show up in your feed, but not necessarily get the alert. So yeah, like the built-in like alert functions in these apps is kind of like, if people do that, then there wouldn't be such a problem with this, like getting exposure to your own audience. Like, but most people don't do that. And also there's all this other noise like baked into the platform. And like a lot of people enjoy this email digest format, given like Mailbrew's grown to like a few thousand users already, last time I checked. And
well, the other example, a lot of users are doing this themselves. Like I think about Tim Ferriss, right? He has his 5-Bullet Friday, and when he sends emails, oftentimes he aggregates his own blog posts. So they're manually creating emails out of their own content. He's not the only user that does that. But to me, that is some validation of, hey, if you're spending all this time creating this content, package it up and deliver it in your most valuable channel, which for pretty much every entrepreneur is email.
Right. So like emails get way better return on investment, like way better click-throughs. But then there's like the added benefit of when you email like this Twitter content or YouTube content to this follower base that you've taken off platform, and you know they're going to see this content and click through at a much higher rate than if it stayed on just on the platform. Well, then they're going to follow that content down the links to YouTube, to Twitter, retweet, like, and all of the other signals that provide the engagement for these platforms to think that the video is performing well, or the tweet's performing well. And so then it's going to perform better. It's going to give like your content an initial boost as well to help like spread it on those platforms. So like a lot of YouTubers, when they launch a video, well, some of them do like email their list, like, look, I've just created this YouTube video, and that initial engagement they get from their list hitting the video boosts it in YouTube's algorithms and like gets it seen by other people organically. So there's that added benefit too.
Let's talk about the actual implementation here. What's the bare bones starting point? This sounds like a bootstrapped idea. It doesn't sound like one that's going to be venture funded. You're going to raise a ton of money. You probably don't need to do that for this sort of idea. It's also one that you're going to iterate, get feedback directly from the content creators to make sure you're building exactly what they're looking for. do you, in your form here, one of the things that you implied is creating a email delivery service. I'm wondering if it's actually necessary to build all of that out, or if there's some other way that you can package that content and drop it into your existing email tool. That's less of a switch.
Or maybe there's a plugin that goes with MailChimp or something like that.
Yeah, exactly. And that way you can be platform agnostic, get more folks, reduce the friction to signing up. Is that possible?
I think so. Yeah. Like building an ESP is definitely the last resort, because it's going to be a nightmare in terms of like, if you build an email service, you've got to, first of all, it's a lot of engineering. And then second of all, you've just got to keep on top of deliverability and like keep on control of spammers. So if there's a little shortcut, like a MailChimp like plugin or add-on could be perfect. Like, because then they're taking like responsibility of sending the emails. And they have a good sender reputation because they send so many people's emails. Whereas like building it from scratch, that's going to be the tough part. The issue is not everybody uses Mailbrew, and then there's also added user onboarding friction, because then like they're going to have to go to Mailbrew, find the Mailbrew API key, and then put that in your app so that it can connect.
You're saying Mailbrew, are you meaning MailChimp?
Oh, sorry, MailChimp. Sorry, yeah.
Sure. No problem.
Getting all the mails mixed up. So yeah, insert MailChimp everywhere. I just said Mailbrew.
Right. Well, that makes sense. We'll have Ari take it. We'll just MailChimp.
Yeah. She might be able to do that with the script, actually. I think that's one of the things that they sell. You said,
I've heard that scripts.
Yeah, cool. You just rewrite the text that you said will make you say anything.
Right.
I'm not even here. I'm not even here right now. I'm just a Descript bot.
So
somebody's typing in a script.
I'm wondering which of these platforms already allow you to just embed your social media posts, because that seems like it gets a lot of the way there. And I'm really trying to tease out the value of this solution. And if there isn't a lot of value in what we just described, maybe we need to think about some new features to add into it. But I'm looking, MailerLite is a platform that has been recommended to me often, and it allows you to embed social media into your email content already. Do we think that these existing tools aren't going far enough, or they're not making it easy enough? What's the distinction between the value that we would be providing and what exists out there?
I think, yeah, that sounds pretty cool with MailerLite embedding tweets. I think the extension, the added value is to do it all on an automated basis. So like the content creator tweeting away just has to sign up and then set the initial like preferences, like, and then from that stage, the email subscribers that they get through your tool are going to then like automatically get their top tweets for the week. And as soon as or if they're going to get every tweet as soon as you tweet it via email.
I'm thinking of an interesting modification on all this, and that is, I know that there's people who are, YouTube famous, Twitter, celebrities, all these different things, and they're just good at like being cool or whatever, and a lot of people are following them, and they're like, I know I should be able to make money off of this, but I'm not. You have they're excited. People think they're rich because they have 500,000, 1 million, 10 million followers, whatever, but they're broke. So I think it could be interesting if you could integrate this email marketing suite for them, so that they can take their tweets, which are really good at doing, put them into email, and then also like kind of coach them in like, and now here's where you have a little call to action about a product. You could maybe create some templates. I think that's an interesting value add here, and something that people would be worth paying for, out of that frustration that they're so popular, but they thought that would make them rich, and it's not yet. So I think that's an interesting direction to go.
Yeah, that sounds pretty cool. Like, even whether it's teaching them to like promote and sell products, and even recommending products that they could, and maybe partnering with product categories and types and allowing them like automatically, like say they're a fashion influencer, but they don't have any brand deals. Maybe you have like partnerships with fashion brands that like a plug and play. And so then you can tag on to their emails with their latest tweet or YouTube video, tag onto the email digest, like also this fashion brand. And maybe
that's pretty hip, actually. You know, with podcasting, even they've got this sort of interchangeable ads, right? You can sign up for these platforms, and the platforms will insert ads dynamically. You know, you don't know exactly what it is, but they'll put it in where you have an ad insertion. And so I don't think people are doing that much with email marketing, right? Where it's like you send out your emails, but then like the marketing is done via insertion by a third party who, you know, has some expertise at that. That could be quite powerful.
I'm guessing that's the way the world is going to go as AI advances. Right now, it feels a little clunky to do that. It feels inauthentic. People can add value by doing some of that curation and not have it all be auto-generated. So as Josh is describing this idea of aggregating your content into an email feed, I'm still picturing that someone would have to go in and massage it. It's not going to be completely automated. I say that, but for the Run With It podcast, our Thursday emails that go out, spoiler alert, they are automatically generated from our RSS. So it's not like they're super unique, but it's also not very sophisticated, just uses our show notes. I think that we could probably be doing a better job if we spent even 5 or 10 minutes curating what goes out in there. It's a little clunky.
Yeah, Chris likes to spend that time lowering my self-esteem, though.
I did want to say, actually, happy birthday, Ethan. We should say that.
Oh, thank you.
Oh, wow.
Say it in the air.
Happy birthday,
Josh.
Today.
Josh, this is my birthday fantasy to be spending time with you.
Yeah.
Appreciate it.
We've only just met and it's your birthday. Congrats, man.
Thank you very much.
All right.
Should we be wrapping up pretty soon, or what's the how's our time?
I think you said 30 to 40 minutes. Do you have another 10 or do you want to wrap up?
Yeah, we can go for another 10.
Okay, great.
Cool. Let's do it.
So I'm looking at some of the other competitors or alternatives, I should say, out there. I searched for aggregate social media posts into email, and the Google ads that come up for this are from The Social Board and Stackla.com. And I don't think that either of them are exactly what we're trying to do. Maybe The Social Board is closest to what we're describing, where you can create a personalized feed that aggregates all of these different platforms for yourself onto your own site. That doesn't work as well as packaging it up and delivering it via email. So yeah, I guess I'm just really trying to get at these alternatives, but I think it could help inform the pricing here for us. They're charging $16 per month for the pro version. And I think the number that you had put out there for this is $50 per month. So let's talk about money a little bit here. What do we think that the potential size for this business is?
Like I'd just be throwing random numbers out there. I really don't know, but I know there's some big companies.
That's what we do out here, man. Just come on, throw some random numbers.
Well, like
10,
Buffer's
12.
social media scheduling.
87.
Buffer's social media scheduling, and that's like a multi-million-dollar a year business. But this is kind of that flipped, right? You're not scheduling social media. You're automating your social media to go to email. But it's the same kind of
I think the point here is that people they're frustrated with social media. There's a big promise, you know, that you're going to get rich and famous or popular or whatever, and they'll pay anything if they're not that popular and rich and famous yet, you know? So I feel like it's a good point that you have a multi-million-dollar business that's scheduling social media posts, and that wouldn't be surprising if you could create a multi-million-dollar business that's around, you know, aggregating content and turning it into emails. I think it's quite reasonable.
I also think it's going to become more common for content producers to realize how much value there is in keeping people off those platforms, even though they're using them often. Once you demonstrate this with a few folks, and you could say, hey, look how much more engaged people who got your emails were compared to people who just saw your content on Twitter. And maybe if you can track that all the way through and see the lifetime value of those segments, then you can get some case studies relatively quickly. And $50 a month is cheap, I imagine, for the return that someone would get.
Yeah, I think that is really one of the most powerful parts about this idea, is that email marketing is so much stronger, so much easier to track, so much more personal, to build that relationship with people, and to take people that are on these social media platforms, which again, it might be functional for them, but it's personal, but a little bit impersonal in a way. It's not that thing that you subscribe to that just comes to your email box, where I can sort of whisper in your ear, say what we want to say between you and me in your email inbox. That is really powerful.
Let's talk some action steps here. One that comes to mind for me is reach out to content creators who are pushing people toward Mailbrew, right? It's an imperfect solution. You know that they have the pain. And Daniel, I forget the last name of the person that you had mentioned.
Marcelo, he's our first customer.
Yeah, exactly.
Right, exactly. Reach out to him. And just talk to him. What would you like it to look like? Just let him tell you what it should be, and get him to pay you. And if he pays you for it, then you're onto something. And definitely worth $50 or more. Probably tiered depending on the list size that they build on your tool. So that you can price segment most effectively. But yeah, just what I'd try and figure out exactly what the product looks like in its simplest form, working with these content creators, one or two, maybe smaller size ones, because the big guys probably won't want to play just with on something that's a work in progress.
I'm not a developer, but I'm going to take a ballpark guess at how long I think it would take to build something like this. It seems like it could be a weekend project to me. Am I completely naive in thinking that?
It's not a weekend project. Definitely not. No.
Is this 3 weeks, 6 months?
Well, it depends. Like we mentioned, if we can make it you can
make a Twitter MailChimp integration. Somebody could get that done in a month
much
or something.
Faster. Yeah. Right. But if you're building an ESP, then you're starting to talk months and months.
Oh yeah, I'm not talking ESP. I'm talking about an integration that pulls your social media and easily allows you to drive subscribers. I'm picturing the ability to get subscribers across different channels to subscribe to your email list, get all that content in one place, and with the potential benefit of someone who follows you actively on YouTube also being exposed to your cross-pollinating with your Twitter content, and vice versa. So to me, that's the key deliverable, and exactly the different components that need to be pulled in to do that are up in the air. But yeah, I guess I'm curious what kind of scale to achieve something like that. Is that, I'll throw out another 3 weeks to do that?
I'd probably say a little bit longer, because it's both YouTube and Twitter. I'd probably just focus on one of them, like Twitter maybe, and get that down as the absolute MVP, because then you've just got one format of things to aggregate into email digests, aka tweets, and you're only getting your head around the Twitter API. And then you can reach out to Twitter content creators who are kind of potentially a different breed to YouTube creators. And so I might even stick with that channel the whole way, and not branch out to the other one till later, and just focus. I mean, there is the cross-pollinating, like you said, and amplifying each other is a great benefit, but I think it's going to complicate things. But maybe 3 weeks if you stuck to just YouTube or just Twitter and managed to make it a plugin for MailChimp and just aggregate their content on those platforms to an email digest and create a link page where they can subscribe to the list that they can share with their followings on those platforms.
Chris, from a perspective of SEO, do you have an opinion of could you do some SEO research to find out whether people are searching for integrating their Twitter with email, or monetizing their Twitter followers, or, expanding their
for
reach?
sure.
Do you think people are going to be searching about this?
Yeah, definitely monetizing your Twitter reach is going to be a highly trafficked term. I haven't done the keyword research for that, but you could do that. Yeah, that'd be another way to validate this. One other example that comes to mind for me, again, I'm going to reiterate this. I think this is a brilliant idea. I think that this is going to happen within the next 5 years for sure. And it's just a matter of who's going to do it. I think about Nathan Latka. I just listened to one of his podcast episodes, which he has become decidedly less like a jerk. I'll say.
He's less annoying? Oh, nice.
Yeah, he's much less annoying. So, Nathan, sorry for bad-mouthing you on the podcast in the past.
It happens when you get older. You realize you just can't be a dick.
He's dialed it down quite a bit. But anyway, we haven't talked about this in the podcast space, but he is trying to own his distribution channel in podcasting. He is directing people to a private RSS feed, going to his website, sign up, you get the private feed. It comes without ads. So yeah, people are looking at different creative ways to control their distribution channels across all these platforms. So yeah, I think you're spot on. We are coming up on time here, Josh. It's been a pleasure speaking with you. Where can people go to learn more about what you're working on?
Yeah, thanks for having me on. So yeah, I'm the co-founder of Exploding Topics with Brian Dean. He's the other co-founder, and it's basically, well, if you want a huge fan of like this half-baked idea I came on with today, then you can go there to find more ideas, because like Exploding Topics, it detects new trends before they take off. So like it's perfect for entrepreneurs or investors to find new ideas and new startups to build or to invest in. Like so yeah, we've got a free newsletter where we send 4 like hot trends every week, and then like in-depth like insight and analysis around each, and then the related trends with them. So like if you want to find your own idea rather than rely on this one of mine, which isn't really fully formed and needs a lot of like fleshing out, well, you can go there to Exploding Topics, and you'll just be hit with like a ton of ideas across all different like categories, like SaaS, like D2C consumer products, like everything, food, all kinds of stuff, finance. So yeah.
Did you guys catch the GameStop wave before it hit? Did you?
Ethan, you're just becoming a greedy capitalist these days, huh? At your old age.
we try and avoid those just like crazy like news related pressy spikes. Like say like there's a game release or like a new Apple iPhone announcement, or some like political news. We try and avoid those. We're looking for like these strong breakout trends like that. Our target audience, like entrepreneurs, VCs, that kind of person, are really going to find valuable. Whereas, I mean, this
you're avoiding
game would have been valuable if we could have predicted it, but nobody can predict that one. That was crazy. Wall Street bets fueled mania. Like our algorithms aren't that good, to be honest, to be able to predict the future, but we can spot trends as they're happening and well before everybody else.
Yeah, it's really fascinating to go and just you can change the time frame and what's trending over the past year, past month, whatever. And I'm always finding something that I haven't heard of, but then when I go look it up, I'm like, oh wow, this is a thing. It's very interesting.
Yeah, so like we spotted the NFT craze that's happening now, like non-fungible tokens and like all the crypto collectibles taking off right now on like platforms.
I'm gonna have an NFT soon, by the way. This is the first public announcement.
Oh, really?
Your own NFT?
I don't know exactly what it's going to be yet, but I'm working on it.
Well, I mean, if you're on Exploding Topics, you would have had it built like 9 months ago.
Yeah, it could have made millions of dollars.
No, actually, I've been. This has been around since before NFTs. Way before this, it initiated a long time ago, back in like 2015, 2016. I'm sure there were NFTs around, but yeah, I'm going to try to connect this to. Anyways, it's too much.
Well, the listener will have to tune in later, right?
Yeah, this is a whole episode by itself.
Yeah. All right, Josh Howarth, thank you very much.
Thanks.
It's been a pleasure.
Thanks for having me on, guys. It's been fun.
Catch you later, Josh.
Take care.
See you later.
All right. stopped recording.
Just getting the Zencastr.
Zencastr.
Cool.
All right. We know you got to run.
Uh-huh.
So appreciate it. If you have any feedback for us, we'd love to hear it. If you have